Hello and welcome to FilmPeaks, where we investigate where films peak or valley. Today we're looking at the fourth entry into the 28 verse. It's still written by Alec Garland, but this time it is directed by Nia DaCosta. She's known for other films such as Candyman, which I thought was pretty good, and also The Marvels. Before we start, I need to express some thoughts. I liked this one more than the final 20% of 28 years later. The first 80% I thought was really good, but then they kind of just went off the rails. At this point, I don't really understand the rage virus. The fat slug boomer zombies I thought were pretty cool, but I just don't think they make sense in this universe anymore. Maybe they will explain that later. We'll see. Plus, the first one had the ninja scene. Anyway, to enjoy the Bone Temple, I think you need to understand that there's going to be a thick layer of cheese. So if you can't handle the fromage, it might not be for you. Could it be that it's a January movie? Movies tend to not perform that well during this month. Anyway, let's start the climb. There will be some spoilers going ahead. Okay. We follow our protagonist Spike as he has joined up with the ninjas from 28 years later. He now has to prove his worth by becoming a member of the Jimmies, led by Jimmy Crystal, or the legendary Jack O'Connell. I've really enjoyed his acting ever since the show Skins way back in the day. Anytime I see him, I always think of the scene where he's like, "I am Cook." But anyway, Spike is initiated into the Jimmies by a stroke of luck. I really enjoyed this prevail against the odds trope that they had going on, and I think we'll start out with a nice 8.5. I was annoyed in the first movie with Ralph Fiennes or Dr. Kelson just kind of chilling with the alpha zombie, but I actually really enjoyed it in this one. Besides the fact that it would be impossible for him to have a 30-year supply of iodine, and his drugs would have lost their effectiveness, and the drugs would not affect somebody that fast, I thought it was done pretty well. His interactions with Samson were definitely some of the most entertaining parts of this movie. We kind of cut back and forth between what's going on with the Jimmies and Dr. Kelson, and that's kind of the premise of the movie. But whenever we see the Jimmies, they're doing some pretty gnarly stuff to people. The kindnesses that they bestow onto others are just insane. And Jimmy's ability to commune with Old Nick or the devil is present throughout the film, but as it goes on, he kind of loses his mental state. He kind of has some daddy issues. At this point, things are going pretty good. We're at a 7.5 for the rising action. Some misfortune befalls the Jimmies and tensions start to rise. Spike's life is on the line, but luckily Kelly spots Dr. Kelson from afar, and due to his red skin from the iodine smeared all over his body, she believes him to be Old Nick or the devil. So they'll ask him for guidance. I think this warped sense of faith in the movie is a really interesting concept. Like, what do people believe in the apocalypse? But anyway, Jimmy sets up a meeting for guidance. At this point, things do drag a little bit. So during the midsection of the movie, we're going to dip a little bit to a 6.0. As we enter the climax territory of the film, this is where I kind of forgot that this movie was in the 28 verse. There's just an absence of zombies minus Samson. The wasting of all the resources with the hundreds of candles lying around from Dr. Kelson. But damn, does Iron Maiden get me pumped up. And only Ralph Fiennes could play this character. This was about as jarring as the ninja scene from the previous movie, but it was a clever decision to make the Jimmies wear masks as they came in, even though it didn't really matter. Dr. Kelson could recognize Spike through his anyway. And I get that he needed a reason to cause a commotion, but I don't think there was really enough of a punch to leave a lasting impression here from this scene, other than the Iron Maiden part. And with that, I was really expecting Samson to wreck more shit than he did. And I have to knock off some points for the one of the most egregious jump scares that I've ever seen. So the climax, 6.0. I think I kind of treat this movie as its own entity. All of the events around the Bone Temple just kind of serve as a side quest for Spike to eventually be aimed towards Cillian Murphy. But there's a lot of unanswered questions here. Is Dr. Kelson the only one that's come up with a cure? Can the cure be applied to anybody with a rage virus? Has nobody else tried to dope up other zombies with opiates? Is Samson addicted to opiates? What's going on in Spike's village? I really hope they answer some of these questions in the next one. I feel like the second half of the resolution area is a return to the classic 28 Days Later type of vibe. And without saying too much, I'm just saying that I'm excited for it. But overall, I think we resolved to a smooth 6.5. Not the highest in the peaks, but definitely entertaining. So, what do you think? Do you think that this film, 28 years later, The Bone Temple, fits within the 28 verse? Or do you feel like it more aligns with 28 months later? If you'd like to leave more than just a comment below, come leave a review on the FilmPeaks app, now available on the iOS store and Android store. See you at the top.